Is that fake?
It's not fake, but he was referencing Trump saying that.
Filthy Rich podcaster Joe Rogan brought on mixed martial arts fighter Bo Nickel for an in-depth and fact-based discussion on politics. No, of course not. Joe Rogan said something ridiculous that was completely wrong and got fact-checked on his show. So I'm going to play this clip. I don't want to spoil anything in case you haven't seen it, because I just want you to enjoy and look at the reaction that Rogan has and his guest has when they realize they were wrong. This is a wonderful Christmas gift for us all.
Well, there's people that voted for Biden that are doing it now. They're like, what did I do?
Right.
Like, what did I choose? Like, how is this guy?
Yeah, you just can't listen to an interview or he's saying some of the stuff he says that just makes no sense at all. It's like you can't listen to those interviews and feel like you made a good decision. I don't know how you could.
Did you hear what he said like yesterday or a couple days ago?
Mm-mm.
He was talking about the Revolutionary War. He's like, one of the reasons why we lost the Revolutionary War, one of the problems with the Revolutionary War was they didn't have enough airports.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
I saw that. It's like, what the hell?
Like, pull him.
It's crazy.
If you had any other job and you were talking like that,
Yeah.
they would go, hey, you're done.
If you talk like that to a doctor at your medical exam to fight, they'd be like, okay, like obviously you're not fighting.
By the way, the same stable genius that said the biggest problem we had in the Revolutionary War is we didn't have enough airports. Whoa.
Yeah, that's it.
Whoa.
What?
Just for the record.
Is that fake?
It's not fake, but he was referencing Trump saying that. Here's what Trump saying it in 2019. Donald Trump said something about that. He didn't say Jesus. He said a stable genius, and that's where the transcription.
Let me hear what it says. What did he say?
The Continental Army suffered a bitter winter of Valley Forge, found glory across the waters of the Delaware, and seized victory from Cornwallis of Yorktown. Our army manned the airport. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he fucked up.
Yeah, he did. But I feel like
Took over
that's
the airport.
you can tell too. It sounds like a little different. He's like, you could tell he like messed up his words, but yeah, he was just I don't know.
Took over the airports.
Well, that's the thing
funny.
about media these days. It's like
right.
You got to look into it.
Yes, you do. You definitely, as media, need to look into it. This is amazing. From the reaction, the change in the reaction to just the complete lack of self-awareness, as if, the media doesn't include this massive, giant podcast listened to by millions of people, millions and upon millions of more than watch actual media. Joe Rogan is mainstream media. Like, that's what many may not realize, or I don't think Joe Rogan himself even realizes it. He is mainstream. He has a larger audience than the vast majority of cable news does, if not all of it combined. So to act like, oh yes, we got to check on the media. You are giving information to more people than the so-called media. You have more power than they do. Yet you are less careful than a place like Fox News. This is the issue with a show like this. And it's the power it has. And the complete lack of, not even lack of awareness, because Rogan, I'm sure, has to be aware at this point, the kind of power he has. It's just him not caring. He thinks saying, and he said this before, simply stating that he's an idiot and don't listen to him, that's enough. But it's nice to hear that honesty, but it's really not enough. You have to be aware and be concerned about the power you have and how you wield that power. This is why I source everything when I cover politics, when I discuss whatever it is. I often show my sources on screen. I quote my source. I want people to understand I'm not just pulling things out of my ass, that there are resources that I'm using to come to certain conclusions. Rogan has, I don't even know, but how much more power he has than I do, but clearly a hell of a lot more power and listeners than I do. And he doesn't appear to care at all. Now, he's lucky that he has Jamie there, the producer, who occasionally will come in and correct him, but this doesn't happen all the time. And before I forget, I got to get to the different reaction. When he thought it was Joe Biden who said that quote, it's like, oh, Joe Biden's got to get out. He's got to leave. I can't believe you voted for him. Then he realizes, oh, it was Donald Trump. Oh, he messed up. Whatever. He made a mistake. We witnessed in real time the different standards that people have between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Donald Trump quoted, essentially, not directly quoted, but essentially quoted Adolf a couple of times the past few months. And I would think that's a bigger issue than flub it. Like Biden, of course, flubs lines all the time, but he ain't quoting Adolf. It's a very different thing. The substance of your message, I think, matters more, a hell of a lot more, than how you deliver that message. I don't know, between Trump and Biden, both aren't really great at delivering messages now either. Trump, as you saw in that clip, actually, he flubs his lines a lot as well in terms of the way he speaks and how words come out. But even still, you could argue that Trump is a better performer, and I think that's part of the appeal for a lot of his viewers is that he's essentially a right-wing comedian, or his viewers. He essentially is a YouTuber, but for a lot of his supporters, Trump is basically a right-wing comedian. Biden is not that. Biden doesn't have that. I don't think has the same kind of charisma. That isn't to say what Trump does is defensible. It's just to compare the differences between the two and why Trump has an appeal that Biden may not. But the substance of what these politicians stand for and what their parties stand for, I think matters a hell of a lot more, and is, of course, both worthy of criticizing. I've done a lot of criticism recently of Joe Biden and his position on Israel, but it has to be said that Republicans are even worse on that issue, and Trump is no different. So it just depends on, what actually matters. Rogan, because of what he is, the nature of what he does, it's a lot of reactionary content. That's what kind of motivates him. And he's really easily swayed by right-wing propaganda because of that. And all of that is distraction. Distraction from what is actually important in terms of politics, in terms of policy. And you're just not going to get those discussions on Rogan's podcast unless he has someone on who's an expert in those fields and is able to expand on it in a way that Rogan simply can't. But this is why, the ultimate issue here is Rogan, the amount of power that Rogan has, and just the complete lack of care that he has for the platform and the power that he wields over so many people because of the kind of information, the kind of reach he has, the information he puts out. He should care a lot more about what he puts out there. Again, lucky, this time it was caught, but this is not usual for Joe Rogan. He usually says something ridiculous and it goes uncorrected.